Hi, everyone. Welcome to open enrollment for 2024. I'm going to go over some of the rules and changes and all the things that you need to know to enroll yourself or to have us help you enroll for 2024. So let's get right to it. I'm going to share my screen with you to go over some of the new rules and regulations that have come out. It's a good thing, these rules and regulations. So let's get to it. So the government has come up with two of them. It came from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. They're making sure that agents are in compliance, following the rules and the requirements, because unfortunately, there were quite a few agents and agencies who were not. So they've come up with two. That's it. Two rules and regulations: consent and marketplace attestation agreements. The Center for Medicaid and Medicaid Services, now CMS, requires us to have two different forms. One gives us consent to help you, which obviously, if you're asking for our help, that seems like that's consent enough, but they want to make sure that we're doing it correctly. And the second one is that you agree and understand the attestations. Now, please note, we cannot actually enroll you without your consent. We also cannot help you throughout the year without that consent. And disagreeing to any of those attestations may affect or hinder your ability to get tax credits, but we'll go into more detail. So regulation number one, consent. We need some sort of documentation, either written or a recorded consent form that shows that you've asked us for help and you want us to help you handle the application. So this is the one that we have sent out to many of you. It says, I, and your name, give permission to Next Step Insurance to serve as the health insurance agency for myself and my entire household, if applicable, for purposes of enrolling in a qualified health plan offered on the federally federated marketplace. By consenting to this agreement, I authorize the above-mentioned agency to view and use confidential information provided by me in writing, electronically, or by telephone only for the purposes of one or more of the following. One, to search for an existing marketplace application. Two, completing an application for eligibility and enrollment in the marketplace qualified plans or other government insurance programs. Now it says such as Medicaid and CHIP, but we don't really help with that, but we do help get the advanced tax credits that help pay for those marketplace premiums. Number three, provide ongoing account maintenance and enrollment assistance as necessary. Again, we don't go in and touch your application unless you ask us to. That is if you have an office or an address change, maybe an income change, maybe a family change. You get married, you add a baby, maybe one of your adult children, well, the young adults become a college graduate and get their own job, and they no longer are part of your taxable family. Whatever it is that you need us to do throughout the year, this gives us that consent. And again, we don't go in and touch your application unless you ask us to. Number four, you give us permission to respond to inquiries from the marketplace regarding your marketplace application, such as those requests for documentation. You're just allowing us to help you upload the correct documents and make sure that everything is done correctly. You understand that the agency will not use or share your personal identifiable information, your PII, for any purposes other than those listed above. The agent will ensure that my PII is kept private and safe when collecting, storing, and using my PII for the stated purposes above. We do maintain a safe and secure system. We have training for our staff to make sure that they don't fall for the phishing emails that come, and we do everything in our power to protect your information. And we do not share it with anybody unless you've given us that permission, including adult children. If you are working for your child, a 26-year-old maybe, we do not let you enroll them without your permission. And I confirm that the information I provide on the entry for my marketplace eligibility and enrollment application to be true to the best of your knowledge. I understand that I do not have to share additional information about myself or my health with my agent beyond what is required for the application for eligibility and enrollment purposes. I understand that my consent remains in effect until I revoke it, and you may revoke or modify your consent at any time by written documentation or verbal declaration. If you no longer want us to be an agent, that's fine. We would just want to have you either tell us verbally or give it to us in some sort of written confirmation. That way we know that you no longer want us to and somebody else didn't take you. But because of some of those unscrupulous agents out there, we may see another agent has now become your agent of record. That's what it's called when an agent is the one who is getting paid the small commissions. We will reach out to you to confirm that that agent is, in fact, the agent that you want. That's why this consent form was created. Up until this year, we never actually legally had to have consent. Now, Next Step Insurance has always gotten consent from you, but now we're doing it the way the insurance company regulators are asking us to. And if you tell us, no, I've never heard of that agent and they are not my agent of record, we can reach out to them saying we have the consent to be your agent and they do not. But if in fact you actually say, yes, that is our new agent, we will mark that as you are previous clients, and we won't touch your application again unless you ask us. The second one is understanding the attestations. Now, these should sound familiar because all of us here at Next Step Insurance have read these before, and if you've been part of renewals in the past, I always read them. So please read the attestations and sign that you understand them. Whether you select agree or disagree is up to you, but if you don't agree to some of those regulations, you may not get all the tax credit. Each year, we will inform you about this again because it is a requirement by the marketplace. So every year, we will go over these attestations. If you need some more clarification than this, please reach out to your agent. They would be happy to help you understand them. So here are the attestations. 1, renewal of coverage. To make it easier to determine your eligibility for help paying for coverage for future years, you agree to allow the marketplace to use your income data, including information for tax returns for the next 5 years. The marketplace will send me notice, let me make any changes, and you can opt out at any time. Now, as we have said before, it's not good to auto-renew. But if you somehow miss open enrollment, and I don't know, you're on a 2-month vacation in Boca Raton on December 16th at 12:01 a.m., the marketplace will automatically renew everybody who did not go in, update their information, and select their 24 plan. Again, you can let that happen, but what's happening is the marketplace will look on the most recent tax document they have, which is typically 2 years in the rears. So I don't know if your income for 2022 is going to be identical to 2024, but you don't want them to do that. It does mean you need to contact us. Now, whether you agree or disagree is not going to cause a problem. I don't think there's any issue in agreeing. Just in case you do miss December 15th renewal statement, you won't lose coverage. But again, this one you can agree or disagree. The second one, I understand that I'm not eligible for premium tax credits if I'm found eligible for other qualifying health coverage like Medicaid or CHIP or a job-based plan. I understand that if I become eligible for the other qualifying health insurance, I must contact the marketplace to end my marketplace coverage and the premium tax credit. If I don't, the person who files the taxes may need to pay back all that premium tax credit. This comes in handy, particularly when you are somehow eligible for Badger Care. Now, there's many reasons people might end up in Badger Care. If that's you, just call us. We will terminate the marketplace coverage. There's no reason to have both. Same with if you're now eligible for a health insurance plan through your employer. Just call us and we'll make sure you're not double covered because you don't want to have to pay tax credits if you don't want. Next, I understand that because the premium tax credit will be paid on your behalf to reduce the cost of health coverage for myself and or my dependents, I must file federal income tax return for 2024. And if I'm married, I must file joint income tax with my spouse. Remember, this is an application for tax credits. It's not about health insurance. So they don't care, IRS, whether one person's on the insurance or not. It's household income. I also expect that no one else will be able to claim me as a dependent on my 2024 federal income tax return, and I'll claim a personal exemption deduction on my 2024 federal income tax return for any of the individuals listed on this application as my dependent who is enrolled in coverage through the marketplace and whose premium for coverage is paid in whole or in part by advance payments of the premium tax credit. Now, that's a long, lengthy statement that basically says you are saying that any dependent we put on the application will be a dependent when you file your taxes. So remember, this isn't your children that are just living in your house. If they are not a tax dependent, they're not allowed to be on your application. But talk to your accountant. If you tell us to put somebody as your tax dependent, we're going to do that. Your tax accountant is the one who's going to be the one to know how the tax rules work. And If any of those things change, you understand that it may impact your ability to get the premium tax credit. I also understand that when I file my 2024 federal income tax return, the IRS service will compare the income on your tax return with the information on the application. I understand if the income on my tax return is lower than the amount of income on my application, I may be eligible to get some tax credits back. But on the other hand, if my tax return, the income is higher than the income we put on the application, you may owe some money back. So of course, the government's going to reconcile what you put. Otherwise, we would just say everybody makes like 17,000 and you would get free, if not amazingly awesome insurance. But of course, this is the government. They do want to confirm your taxes and your income. Now remember, you're not going to pay a penalty or a fee or interest. If you owe them $10, you pay them $10. If they owe you $10, they'll pay you $10. So it's not use it or lose it. If you report higher, you might get some money back. If you report lower, you might owe them. And next, I know you must tell the program if you enrolled in the information listed on the application changes. So again, just call us. That's what we're here for. We're your personal insurance agents. If you have a change in income, housing, anything that might affect, you can certainly let us know and we can tell you whether that will affect what's happening. If anyone on your application is enrolled in the marketplace coverage and is later found to have other qualifying health insurance like Medicare, the marketplace will automatically end your marketplace coverage. This will make sure that everyone who's found to have other qualifying health insurance won't stay enrolled in a marketplace plan and have to pay full cost. So it comes up every year. When you are eligible for Medicare, you cannot stay on your plan and get a tax credit. You could stay on the plan, but we're talking $8,000, $9,000 a month, and Medicare is significantly less expensive. So that's the new rules and regulations. Thank you very much. And again, appreciate all of your support and trust in us. And I don't know, we couldn't do it without you. Any questions, give us a call.